And as we heard from Simon Bridges earlier, National is claiming the median New Zealand rent has increased by $30 a week over the past year. That's in contrast, they claim, with an average yearly increase of just $12 for each of the 9 years National was in power. Of course, they would say that, wouldn't they? But let's check in with property commentator Ashley Church to get his assessment. Morning, Ashley.
G'day, Jack.
Does this sound right to you?
Oh, look, I have some sympathy with some of what Simon Bridges was saying. I watched the interview this morning. There is one other factor at play, though, and it's just worth remembering too. Earlier this year, in fact, back in January, I think I gave you some predictions about what was likely to happen to the property market this year, and one of those, if you recall, was that rents were going to increase more dramatically this year than in previous years, and that there was a range of reasons for that. But the one that Simon didn't mention this morning that's quite important is there is a tendency during flat markets for landlords to increase rents more dramatically, and the reason for that is that when markets are going strong and you're getting capital growth of sort of 50-60 grand per year, often landlords will actually forego or not be quite as strong on rent increases as they might otherwise have been. So there's a little bit of that going on. It's about trying to recapture some of that. But some of the other things that Bridges talked about this morning, I have some sympathy with. Firstly, those figures are robust. They come from IMBI. So they are real. That $30 per week increase, $1,560 per year is real. And they fall basically, Jack, into two categories. There's the real stuff, because I noticed you gave him quite a hard time this morning about whether these tax increases were real. The healthy home stuff's real. That was passed in 2017, so that's got an implication on landlords in terms of the costs that they're facing. And there's also work being done at the moment around changes to the Residential Tenancies Act, which again is real. So it's going to have a real impact on landlords. So there's an anticipation of increased costs as a result of that. The ones that are psychological, if you like, and again, I have some sympathy with them on this, things that haven't actually happened, but landlords are anticipating them. Bright line test, yeah, not so much. I think my earplugs come out, I'm sorry. Bright line test, not so much, but the two I think that are going to have an impact are the threat of a capital gains tax. That's already playing on the minds of landlords. And the other one, which is going to have a massive impact, and Grant Robinson has said it's going to happen, is the ring fencing of tax losses. So all of those things are conspiring to increase rentals. Okay,
what can be done to try and slow those down without I mean, though there's still hypotheticals when it comes to the capital gains tax, although that has obviously been signalled.
Yeah, really, really simple solution to this, but I don't think it's going to happen. The simple solution is stop doing things to scare landlords out of the market. The way to fix this problem is to increase your supply of rentals dramatically, and the way you do that is you get more people investing in property. Everything that's happening at the moment is moving in the other direction. It's about scaring people out of the market, so that's your solution.
Well, I suppose from the government's perspective, it's a balance, isn't it? Because we've been so concerned about young, first home buyers not being able to get into the market because the capital growth on those properties has been extraordinary.
Yeah, the two things aren't mutually exclusive though, Jack. I mean, you're right, and for me that's the primary motivator. We need to get young people into houses to the largest numbers that we possibly can, but in the meantime we need to house people who can't actually afford to buy houses. So you kind of have to have both. You have to have an increase in the number of people that can afford to buy a home for themselves, but at the same time, because we need more houses, you need more houses being put into the rental market, and which means you need more landlords or more people prepared to invest in property.
But when you're saying that rents go up when there's no capital growth, but the problem is if there's capital growth, then the people who are renting can't afford to buy homes.
Again, though, the solution is increased supply. The more houses you've got, the less opportunity there is for capital growth, because it's a demand-supply thing. One offsets the other.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for your time and your insight as always. Appreciate it, Ashley. That's Ashley Church, property commentator.